Okay, this is Kaiju-tastic Media, and this is the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1962 review. Alright, this figure came out in 2016, July of 2016, and this is my review. I'm going to give you guys kind of like an account of what he means to me, like my own little stories here and there about him that okay, alright, let's take a look at the box art. The box art is just your standard X Plus garage toy, X Plus symbol, X Plus Gigantic Series in Japanese, the 1962, and then the usual and stunning art for the, sorry about the, I'm doing this video during the day right now, so anyways, okay, the box art is just your usual. Alright, let's go right towards the figure. Alright, the figure is truly probably one of the most stunning, if not the top 5. There's not a whole lot of Gigantics, but this is up there with the top 5 Gigantics that I think are the absolute best, the pinnacle of X Plus, the pinnacle of the Gigantic Series line. And all right, let's take a close inspection of the eyes. The eyes are done in a black and yellow, like the eyeball has some yellow highlights. If you notice the yellow highlights, I watched the movie. I must have watched King Kong vs. Godzilla again for the dozens of times in the last month. So, you know, because I was trying to see if X Plus really nailed it, if they really did an accurate. Okay, let's take a look at the nose. The nose is like a standard Godzilla style nose, and I know a lot of people. I've heard a lot of stuff that this guy looks like a frog, or he looks a little bit like the Cookie Monster Cookie. But honestly, I don't think so. I think it's a fun little, a cute little way of loving your X Plus, because they're kind of like, to me, X Plus Gigantic Series is, whoa, what is that? That's lint on it. Whoa, that's not cool. How'd that get on there? Well, anyways, back to the... They're kind of like a pet, your own pet, a dinosaur, because they're so big, and they really live up to that tagline, the Gigantic Series. Okay, and then let's take a look at the top of the head. The top of the head is your standard. You start to see the bumps building out, and let's take a look down, and we're gonna look at the dorsal plates. My inspection of the dorsal plates. The dorsal plates are highlighted in a very light gray and a charcoal gray. I'm sorry. The rest and this is one of the few Godzillas, actually the only Godzilla from the Showa era that had very large dorsal plates, very massive dorsal plates, and then you can see as they come down towards, let's look at the tail. There's the tail, the tip of the tail, the tail of the tail. That's what this is, right? The tail of the tail. I mean, sorry, guys. All right, I'm drinking a lot of Coca-Cola for this review, so I'm just really excited. I am just honored to have such an amazing giant figure. You know, because I got like 4 X Plus on the way, coming pretty soon for. So I'm really stoked. I'm really kicking this into high gear, and as I'm doing this review, and I'll probably be stopping a little bit because we do have a pandemic on our hands. We got a strain going on right now with the coronavirus, so I don't think I'm gonna be getting ordering any figures after this. All right, so okay, let's take it back to the review. Let's take a look at the mouth. The mouth, you see pink, it has pink gums, or I think that's kind of his lips. And the mouth is a little bit curved, a little bit jagged, a little bit like bumpy, kind of like the Godzilla from 1973's Godzilla vs. Megalon a little bit. And Godzillas tend to have a very almost bumpy profile from the down towards the mouth and everything. So, and then the teeth are beautifully thick and individually sculpted. So let's take a look. I'm gonna try to have a look-see inside the mouth if I can, if it's possible. If we can. Probably not, but you could kind of make out a tongue inside there if I really point my phone towards it. So, all right, that is about okay. And let's take a close inspection of the body. Now we got the neck coming down here, and we got a very baggy profile. A very down here is the trademark Godzilla. Ever since both Showa Godzillas and Heisei Godzillas had this bump right here towards the front of the chest. It's kind of like it's been a staple with every Godzilla since the beginning. So, and if you notice, I'll be talking about the paint job right now. All right, then you notice he's kind of like in a baggy pose because the figure is just really hunka chunka. It's thick as hell. And I like my Godzillas to look like that because it's like Burning Godzilla, gigantic series Burning Godzilla. They have to, that's the mighty power of Godzilla, you know, the king of the monsters. You know, it symbolizes power of a nuclear supposed god of destruction. So, because he is a destructive force on the films. And okay, so his pose, I'm going to talk about the pose right now, and I'll continue with the body. Okay, I'm going to continue with the body. So, okay, you see the legs. The legs this is probably the thickest, only because I don't own the gigantic series 2019 Godzilla. I seen it besides this figure. I had to watch another video, but if you look very close, there's a lot of, it's just a lot of girth. It's just really chunky, and I love it. And the legs are kind of like in a walking, almost like he's about to take a step. Because, okay, I'm going to tell you guys, okay, let's go, I'm sorry. Let's go down here to the feet. And the feet, this is the only Godzilla that really has, like, the 3 toes. Most Showa Godzillas had only 3 toes. It's only the beginning with Godzilla King of Monsters from 54, and of course Godzilla Raids Again in 55. From then on, it was only 3 toes till 1975, and then when the Showa era culminated with Godzilla 1984, you saw the 4 toes once again, and the toes are just truly powerfully built, and the way they sculpted them is just massive. It's huge. If you take a look at my hand, take a look at my hand on the foot, and the foot is just almost as chunky and large as my hand. That's how big this figure really is. The way I took a really close inspection of him, and you see the other leg, of course. And now let's take a look at the arms. The arms are baggy because he's in a hunched over position pose. And this is another thing about this Godzilla that's very rare that you don't see a whole lot of, except maybe a little bit of it with once again Godzilla 1995. Is the huge is the massive arms, and then the hands are very large. Actually, this is the only Godzilla where the hands are really big, massive fist. Like he's ready. He's to fight or to go past. I'm gonna tell you guys what pose I think this X Plus is modeled after, because X Plus has a very good track record on getting X Plus figures and certain scenes of beloved movies that we know, of course. Okay, so the fingers, and you can see the fingers are very awesomely. I love the way they sculpted the fingers because it makes it look. It gives a sense of that he's about to do something, and I'll tell you guys what I think he's gonna do. And then you see the nails are very large. Also, this is the Godzilla that I wish that we would have seen more of. The only other known the only known other movie that he came on was actually that unreleased Godzilla versus the Wolfman, and then of course it transitioned into Godzilla 1964. And the end, as the battle progressed, I'm sure a bunch of you guys have seen that already. So okay, and now let's talk about paint job. The paint job. All right, the paint job is awesome. It's the usual charcoal gray in a very almost a I would say like most of people that kit makers, resin kit makers and vinyl that know that use it. Yeah, you guys, I've asked questions about. I use acrylic gray, so it's a like very acrylic gray. It's the usual for every Godzilla for a very lot for most of the series, and so and then the skin. The skin is awesome. It has that massive, almost just jagged. It's almost jagged tree bark skin that I love. Another thing I love about Godzilla is that they have I love these type of scales. The scales are very massive and there's a lot of good texture in the scales. And look at his chest again, you see that red, and it goes up to his neck a little bit. And if you notice as because he's turning and he's leaning forward, so you could see this is where the head of the suit actor was looking. And if you look, I'm trying to look at a little close if I can. You could see a hole maybe where the actor would look through it. Oh my gosh. Love Godzilla, but I don't think I'd want to be a Godzilla stunt actor, that's for sure, a suitmation. And right here, let's look into the back, the dorsal plates. The dorsal plates, you see where the opening where the actor got in. And the dorsal plates are they're in a pose where usually when we would, since this was suitmation, and now we got CGI Godzillas, the Godzilla would have, the dorsal plates would wiggle as the actor would move, or he would be in some sort of action scene, and you could see the rubber, obviously the rubber moving. So they're kind of in a moving pose because he's walking, and the pose I think he's in is the electrical blockade pose. But I was like, I'm trying to find the pose. Some people say it's when he's about to fight Kong on Mount Fuji, but I think it's the electrical blockade when he's trying to get past the Japanese army, or it could also be when he's coming towards the hole where they're about to try to blow him to smithereens with the dynamite. Of course, he seems indestructible. I'm sorry, I'm drinking soda. All right, so. Alright, okay, this figure is probably the highlight, the pinnacle of my collection right now, and I'm just getting started like a lot of us that just started collecting in 2018 or just started collecting, man. We're just getting started, man. This is an awesome, this is truly spectacular top. This is not small time, man. This is the big time. X Plus yeah. There's some other lines that I could name right now, like Billiken, that are very. They have the Yugi Sakai. Imagine if we got a Yugi Sakai gigantic series Godzilla. Oh my gosh, maybe with Godzilla 1973 or 74 or 75, whatever, or a Godzilla 1968 and the Yugi Sakai. It'll become a part of the Yugi Sakai line, so that'd be awesome. Get a gigantic like that. I think the gigantic that we got is the Godzilla 1999. All right, my final thoughts on this figure before. Okay, so I'm gonna just tell you guys a little story about you guys. Some of you might probably already know this story. Okay, before as the actors, there was the two actors, there's two stunt actors that were performing and fighting each other with as Kong and Godzilla were actually two sumo wrestlers that had a real match going behind the scenes. So if you notice some of the moves that Godzilla and Kong do are very sumo wrestler like, and you can see some WWE where Kong body slams Godzilla or grabs him by the tail or something like that and does that huge slam. But so it's a very interesting aspect because most suitmation actors were only they had most of their suitmation actors were the same two or three people for most of the movies, and this is the only movie where they were actually a professional athlete. So it's pretty awesome. It's a neat story. I kind of like it. You guys that probably already know it. If you those that don't, and that's I think it's a pretty awesome story. A little backstory about them. All right, let's look at the tail stand. The tail stand Tail stand. This is the tail stand. No, duh. The tail stand, I don't really need it. I totally agree with some people because I'm going to try to put it on. Let's see. Try to put it on this part of the tail, and it just kind of makes them lean forward a little bit. And that's just not kaiju-tastic for me. This figure is kaiju-tastic. This figure is giving me that radiation levels are climbing, and you know, it's vinyl, so it's kaiju-tastic, and it is awesome. And so I don't really use this thing is pretty useless to me. I'm not going to use it. And here's, of course, the instructions. I'm putting the figure, the tail on. No sweat. Got the blow dryer. Bam. Whoa, where'd that come from? Got the blow dryer, and presto, the tail's on. Oh my gosh. Forgive me. I got my own catchphrases. But Rich, he's Leslie Chambers, Phil the Kaiju King, a bunch of others that really I've been watching for quite some time. You know, you guys know the story. I think I've talked about on the X Plus Collectors group and also in Kaiju-tastic Media that the reason I'm collecting X Plus, is because of Rich Iso, and then later on I'm watching Leslie Chambers, and then later on we got a couple more people that really inspired me to actually fork over a buttload of cash to get this stuff. All right, so my final thoughts on the figure. I'm going to tell you guys why I think this is not the best Gigantic Series figure, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you the three in front of it. Okay, because I'm thinking the 1964 would be number 5, and this one would be number 4 because it is just better. It's just thicker, and it's just has a much more commanding. Even though everybody loves the 64 because it's more sleeker, it's thinner. It was easier for the actor to move around during filming, and the three, it's hard. I can't tell you guys. I'm not going to be able to tell you guys what I think is my number 1, but I'm just trying to tell you which is the three that are better than this guy. Just a little bit better. The Gigantic Series Burning Godzilla from 1995. The Gigantic Series Godzilla 89. And of course, more recently, the Gigantic Series Mechagodzilla that just came out, and I think I'm probably gonna miss out on that one because I got so much stuff lately that I ordered or are getting in the mail or something like that I'm probably gonna miss out. It sucks. Oh well, you only live once. You never know. It's hard to find these Gigantics for a decent price, but maybe you never know. Push comes to shove, maybe on the collectors group one of these days I can get it. Kind of sucks. I'm kind of bummed out. I'm happy right now. Now I'm a little bit down because I'm not getting the Gigantic Series Mechagodzilla. I mean, I could do it. I could. It could happen. It's just all right. Sorry, you guys. So okay, my final